One of the big political stories of the week was the candidacy of Laila Cunningham as Reform UK's London mayoral candidate. She joins us now on Talk Breakfast. Good morning, Laila, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We've got viewers and listeners, as you know, across the country. To what extent are London's problems replicated across the nation?
I mean, I don't know, actually. I don't know. I mean, I know that crime is rampant across the country, but I do know that we have a particular problem in London just by the nature of what London is. You know, it's a tourist attraction. It's got a lot of commerce. It's a different beast, I think, to the rest of the country.
Most definitely. But obviously, I've got listeners and viewers in Belfast, in Glasgow, Edinburgh, in Birmingham, in Manchester, elsewhere, where knife crime and antisocial behaviour is rife. And that's very much the concern that you've got about the capital.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, and they have to blame their... If that is happening, then there is if there's a mayor or a police and crime commissioner who act like a bystander, like Sadiq Khan, they have to understand that they can't hide from this. This is them. This is their fault. Every scandal or every lack of responsibility or, you know, where the police don't act, that is a direct responsibility of those at the top. And if I was mayor, if you don't keep Londoners safe, then you've got to go. Some
people have accused you in your opening remarks about your candidacy for the London mayor position of talking down the capital. Some have pointed out that actually murder, for example, is at a 3 or 4 decade low.
So murder is extremely well prosecuted, obviously, but murder tells a very small picture of what's really going on. There's so much other crime that affects people. There's rape, there's knife crime, there's shoplifting, there's robbery, and those are an epidemic, that we are going through an epidemic for all of those.
Most definitely. I mean, you've got, I understand, 7 children, and some of your own children have experienced harassment and have been targeted coming out of school, and your experience is all too common for Londoners.
It's all too common. And I mean, yeah, I mean, they were actually targeted by masked gangs. And the crime is bad enough, but it's even worse when you call the police and they don't have enough resources to respond to you, or they don't respond, and you don't feel that you have backup. And that's when you know that the social contract between the police and the state and the citizen is broken, and people have lost faith in the law.
Why are you a Reform UK supporter and not a Conservative as you previously were? What's the difference between the two parties these days?
Oh, I think it's a massive difference because, I mean, number one, it was under the Conservatives that law and order broke down. You know, they shut so many magistrates' courts where all trials start. They cut police numbers. It was under Theresa May, actually, that she really politicised stop and search, and that completely stopped. And stop and search across the world shows that it really does reduce knife crime. And they didn't take, you know, they spoke about being the party of law and order, but they weren't. Reform is a party that understands what the country needs. They're not here to serve the party. None of us have joined Reform because we want to be part of some prestigious, you know, party that's been around for hundreds of years. No, we've all joined because we want to do what's best for the country, and we see that something's wrong. And we love it.
You are a former Crown prosecutor. To what extent has political correctness and a concern about being called racist made it more difficult for the police and the courts to do their job and to keep my viewers and listeners safe?
I haven't seen so much of that. What I have seen is that there has been a focus within the criminal justice system on hate crime. And that has diverted resources from violent crime, domestic abuse, other types of crime. I think the state has been going after words for too much, opinions and words. And I think we need to refocus on actually prosecuting and focusing on violent crime and crime that really affects people. And we have to, frankly, let people be a bit offended. I think it's fine. It's not up to the state to do that.
If the leader of Reform UK wins the election, which polls suggest he may well, Laila, he will reintroduce the 2-child benefit cap. Have we got to get used to U-turns from Reform UK?
No, I haven't actually heard that yet.
Because it's our understanding that obviously it was the position of the party to actually scrap the 2-child benefit cap, but I think it was going to be targeted towards working families. But in fact, it will now be reinstated fully. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, Laila, has accused your leader, Nigel Farage, of racism, because he said that he's worried about this policy, the scrapping of the two-child benefit cap, because the resources will go predominantly to immigrant families. Is that racist?
No, I don't think it's racist. I think British people deserve to be prioritised in their own country. And if you come to this country and you need to have benefits, you shouldn't have access to it. Why should the British person pay for someone else from another country? British people have been deprioritised. You know, for instance, social housing, refugees go to the top of the list because they're deemed most in need. And that is fundamentally unfair. We have to look at prioritising British people like any country does.
Indeed. Now, of course, we are, aren't we, Laila, a multi-ethnic, diverse society. We welcome people that come to this country who have contributed, worked hard, put more into the system than they've taken out. I think your family, originally from Egypt, did exactly that. I'm the son of Irish immigrants myself. My parents ran a pub for 40 years. They put in more than they took out. So there's not an issue about anti-immigration, but we do need a national conversation about how much of that pie goes to people that were born here versus those who weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a British national should be prioritised for any kind of social benefits, whether it's housing or benefits. And we're not seeing that. If you know, we need to stop benefits for foreigners because that is also a huge pull for people coming here.
If there weren't benefits, then they would come because they wish to start a business or be economically productive. That's the point. If you're not going to get benefits, the only way you survive is to get a job and be active.
Well, exactly that, and that is what successful countries do. I mean, you look at Dubai; it was a desert, and now it's a very successful economy, and that's because people want to go there who want to succeed, and that's the kind of people we want to attract to this country. Those that want to contribute, set up, like you say, set up business, you know, be a net benefit to the country.
Laila, you're not woke, you're not politically correct, you're not one to play the race card. How ironic that the Chancellor, a figure of the left who find racism everywhere except when it stares them in the mirror, accuses your leader of racism, but actually inadvertently may be guilty of prejudice herself by implying that you have to be white to be British.
It's mad that she said that. Because Britishness doesn't come down to the colour of your skin.
It's like she said the true bit out loud, or the mask slipped.
I think the mask slipped, and I think the mask has been slipping quite a lot in the past few months. Labour's not, they're not what it seems.
And
Mark, you didn't grow up in Kilburn, did you?
Well, no, funny enough, I didn't. I grew up in Kentish Town, but my uncle lived there, and I'm well aware of the Irish community in that area, which of course you'll know well.
Well, that's where I grew up, so I was just wondering. There were a lot of Irish pubs when I was growing up.
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, you know, we lived with IRA terror, and it was not politically incorrect. It wasn't politically incorrect to call out the evil of the IRA. You weren't worried about the sensitivity of the Irish community when we called it out. It was obnoxious and evil and wrong.
Yeah, because speaking the truth should never be offensive. That's the problem, you know. Well, the truth shouldn't hurt, Mark.
No, and the truth doesn't care about your feelings, does it? What a fascinating conversation. Laila, a privilege to have you on the programme. Thank you so much for joining us. Your first talk interview since announcing your candidacy for the London mayoral contest.